Yo. Great and square. Look. Yo. Hey, yo, you gotta use your. All I really ask of you is that you try and use your. Holy zombie, Jesus, I'm coming for the. If you really wanna battle me, then you better use your. Yeah, they think it's a game and fail to use their. Some lame, outdated books that's weighing down there. Even though the same teaches not to use your. That's insane. So here is just something else for you. Yeah, there's a reason they teach it to you when you're young. Cause a grown up asking for evidence isn't fun. Trying to explain how you should believe in the same data creation myths when you trying to convert someone. Name a faith that lets you think for yourself. I'll join tomorrow. That doesn't have a heaven or hell or promote sorrow. You mean to tell me you need someone else to tell you that slavery, rape, and murder is wrong? I arm myself with Logic for Dummies books, 10 under each arm. Walk in the church and start serving them all. No burning the cross, the source of Holocaust. Make them rewrite the Bible with my verses and songs. I tend to write better songs. Where does Eddie get off? Not just yours, I mean every God. The lyrical rendition of Bill Maher's Religionless. I'm serious, religion is bullshit and we're sick of it, now deal with it. Hey, yo, you gotta use your. All I really ask of you is that you try and use your. Holy zombie, Jesus, I'm coming for the. If you really wanna battle me, then you better use your.
Oil and exchanging resources with different countries, but other countries are down there doing the same thing. Nicaragua, right. And other countries are doing the same thing. Even how you say?
Okay, because let me get this call real quick. We got a caller.
Okay.
That thought. Caller.
Yeah, we take all the calls.
Oh yeah, we're gonna take all the calls today. Caller.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. What's up?
Fantastic, Ashe. I just wanted to say, for a course correction, in fact, Venezuela is the 8th largest oil producer in the world, not the first, behind such countries as China, Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, the U.S. So in fact, they are 3.7% of the world's oil production. They are not the first. So we're entitled to opinions. We are not entitled to facts, my brothers. We also want to let you guys know
hold on.
that,
y'all gonna have to turn.
Let's not lionize Hugo Chavez.
Okay, say that again.
Okay,
sorry, Carl, we having technical difficulty. Repeat everything you just said because the volume was low.
Okay, I'm sorry, forgive me.
No, it's not your fault. No, it's not your fault.
So what I was saying was that, in fact, the Hugo Chavez and his revolution, while great, we shouldn't lionize brothers like this because, on paper, socialism is fantastic. On paper, capitalism is fantastic. On paper, Marxism is fantastic. In practice, they suffer from the foibles of all men, just like through all of history. We know this to be a fact. And the true fact is that Venezuela is not the #1 oil producer in the world. It is, in fact, the 8th largest producer in the world at 3.7%, falling behind China, falling behind the U.S., falling behind Saudi Arabia, the U.S. Arab Emirates. So let's just keep the facts right. I appreciate what you brothers are saying. You guys are spouting some great truth. But let's not lionize these systems because it's really the foibles of men that will bring these down every time. And we just have to remember that.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. Thank you, brothers. Ashe.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say that because I got the numbers right here from the World Fact Book. And this is where the information, so don't get mad at me about that information. You take it up with the CIA. That's number one. Number two, you failed to mention any system in today's society, in the 20th century, that has reduced the poverty down to 50%. Today we're talking about Chavismo. Whether Venezuela, you feel, has less oil than the United States, the fact that still remains, just like Brother Mukas and Brother Dave mentioned, is that 50% not only of the Venezuelan population was taken out of poverty, but a lot of that oil was sent up here to help us out, heating some of these black people in the United States. So,
yes. And not only that, let's go and make it clear.
Yeah.
Young man, your figures are absolutely wrong. And that according to the United States News, which is nothing but a bunch of liars, according to what they're saying, it is said that Venezuela have more oil than Saudi Arabia. But however much they have, they use the profit to go to the people. If they don't have but a drop, that drop is benefiting all the people of Venezuela and South America, and it benefited a lot of people right here in the United States. Venezuela have a socialistic system. And under socialism, everything belongs to the people, and you work to serve the people, to give the people all the things that they need as human beings: lights, gas, water, food, clothing, intelligence, knowledge, and everything else to create human happiness and human comfort. Right. Under capitalism, they exploit the people, put the people in slavery, drug the people, build prison industrial complexes, and make the people suffer. Capitalism makes people suffer. It's an evil system. The rich get richer and the poor get poor. Under capitalism, three people are always found: have and have not, slave and a slave master, the oppressed and the oppressor. We are on the side of the oppressed.
Yeah, and I think he's confused because, like, a lot of people get confused because Venezuela is what they call heavy oil. So 1 barrel of heavy oil is equivalent to Saudi Arabia, United States, 10, well, let's just say one of their heavy barrel oils, you can dilute to, I think they said about 60 barrels of their
But
petrol.
it don't matter how much they got. The fact of the matter is Venezuela is solving the problems of the poor people. Hugo Chavez is on the side of the poor people. Yeah. Obama and American presidents are on the side of the rich people. And they continue to put you in slavery and to dog the human world and to bomb them and kill them and murder them and create suffering. Hugo Chavez and the Venezuelan Revolution, Bolivar Revolution in Venezuela, and the socialist revolution that's sweeping South and Central America and will soon be in the Caribbean, is working to end the oppression that Europe and France and Spain and the United States, the suffering that they have brought to these people over the last 100 or so years. Matter of fact, there was another country, another man in Grenada, Maurice Bishop. Mm-hmm. And Maurice Bishop was following the path of Fidel and the path that Hugo Chavez has taken. And when they won their revolution and they were working to solve the social problems, Reagan and those in 1983, around October 25th, at around 9 o'clock at night here, they invaded that country and they killed the president of the New Jew movement and put the country back in slavery. Now, mind you, I would like to say to you, the reason they saw Grenada and the president as such a great threat to the United States, the one thing they got going is that the people that won their freedom in Venezuela speak Spanish. The people in Cuba speak Spanish. But the revolution in Grenada, they spoke English. And the United States felt that that was a special threat because you, their slave, would hear free-speaking, free-thinking people, and they didn't want you to hear them. They didn't want you to hear people talk that was not under the white man, was not his slave. They wanted to keep the slaves talking to you, those who beg in America, love America, and obeying them and begging for crumbs and talking about Democrat and Republican, right, and just trying to get closer to their white master. They didn't want you to hear people who have cut the Democrats' hands off, the Republicans' hands off, have cut America's hands off, and now they're working to take over the economic and feed and clothe their own people. This is Maurice Bishop in Grenada. That's the reason they killed Maurice Bishop and overthrew that revolution. That's the reason they overturned the government of Kwame Nkrumah. That is the reason that they overthrow governments all over the world. They don't want us to be free, and that's one of the reasons that Haiti was the first revolution to win, and for 100 years, Haiti stood as a free, powerful nation, economically, socially independent of the white man, and the United States of course, invaded the country and oppressed the people again. And today the United States, along with France and other European nations, they're making the black people in Haiti suffer because they got free. They want to make sure they never enjoy that freedom. Even though Martin Luther King made the Civil Rights Bill pass, Dr. King was shot in the mouth by the FBI to make sure he never enjoyed.
So, you talk about, we just heard Mukasa talk about assassinations. Now, I know they tried to try to coup d'etat with Brother Chavez.
They put him in jail.
Well, they always, when we have that different types of things that's going on, you understand when it's always someone is for the people.
Okay.
Someone is definitely for the people. And there's always modes of assassination.
Right.
There's always talked about assassination. They came after Gaddafi about that.
That's right.
They came after Chavez a number of times.
Saddam Hussein.
They came after Saddam Hussein about that. They actually came after, who was that? There's another one they came after.
Shoot, I mean, there's a whole
Kwame Nkrumah, Sekou Touré, Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe.
As you tend to put yourself in that position, and when you are for the people, there's always an assassination. Now, let's take that world view that we see and let's bring it back home.
Okay.
Let's bring it to the Black Panthers. When the Black Panthers said, we're the people,
Right.
we're for the people. When you say those words for the people and you're not speaking on the words of economics of a people, what tends to happen? They come after you. Look what they did to the Black Panthers.
Right.
That's in our community.
Right. We got Mumia Abu-Jamal. We got Fred Hampton.
Yeah, you got Martin Luther King.
We got Malcolm X.
Nat Turner,
You got all these-
Marcus Garvey,
Marcus-
W.B.
man,
Du
you
Bois,
have-
Paul Robeson,
You have all that.
Fannie Lou
Now,
Hamer.
let's get this measure. Let's look at when Barack Obama was running for presidency. And as he was in his very first 4 weeks, what word was he called?
He was called the food stamp president. I mean,
He was called a socialist.
Oh, that's right, a socialist.
What was the reason why he was called a socialist? Because he went in to create change and make change just as well as his brothers, Chavez, Gaddafi. He was talking about change for the people.
Right.
So when you do something about for the people, what happened? The folks who tend to be of the Republicans, Democrats, whoever, independents, Green Party, when you're touching their money and it's for the people, there's problems. So socialist at the time was a new ninja word.
Okay.
I mean, it was a new ninja word. So they was basically calling Barack Obama a ninja because you see, you had Chavez the same way. They called Castro the same thing. They called Gaddafi. They called all the ones who was for the people. Now, if you're in a capitalist type of society,
But Dave, I mean, you got,
it's all a go.
but I mean, you got a few rich people that basically set up the coup d'etat, but you got a majority of them because y'all want to call in? The number is 770-559-2999. Dave, where were we at? I'm sorry.
We're actually to the part where we was using examples about different types of our brothers out there with the socialist system.
Right.
And so I made the point about Barack Obama when he started to say something for the people, when he started to say something about health care. Heck, we've been trying to get health care passed for the longest. Anything that was for the people, far as getting a little bit more money on their, at the end of their paychecks, so they can see a little bit more, it was always something. So anytime you do something for the people, anything for the people, because the last few presidents and stuff, it wasn't always for the people. It was always, listen to my agenda. It's all about the agenda. So this was one that sounded a little bit different from all the rest.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So his little bit difference sounded like the brothers that's out there. That's why they called him the socialist.
Right.
Because it sounded like, oh, you sounding like you want to do something for the people. You sounding like Castro.
Right.
You sounding like Chavez. You sound like you want to do something for the people, Obama. So,
Well, anytime the people are given or get anything from this capitalist system, they borrow those things from socialism.
Right.
Like food stamps is socialist.
Okay.
Medicare is socialist.
Reduce gas bills,
Giving people
socialist.
scholarships
Right.
is socialist. Even helping people with gas bills, that's a socialist. So socialism is when they borrow it from socialism, that's the only good part about this system. The system is capitalism, and it does nothing but suck the bone of the people and make them poor and poor and poor and poor and keep them in slavery. So we have to destroy capitalism and the power
Now,
has to
Mukasa,
be taken from it.
with that, it takes planning. I want to bring in King Noble because I know, when we talk about revolution, we talk about black power, black supremacy, there has to be a plan to it. And, I know, like I said, I've talked to Dave about when Fidel Castro, when they attempted the coup d'etat, they had seized him and they took him on a helicopter, and I guess they were about to kill him.
You mean Chavez?
Chavez, I'm sorry, Chavez, thank you, Mukasa. But Chavez planted soldiers in there, so when they got up in the helicopter, they called him and said, you bring Chavez back and we're gonna kill this new regime. Speak on that.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, that how well he was prepared to really not be overthrown.
Right.
That's very important.
Okay.
He set up a lot of social reform programs to help feed the people and take care of the people, medical care. But I think how he died, potentially some CIA or the government having something to do with it.
Nah, they wouldn't do that, King.
How he died showed how even much more important is being prepared to deal with your enemy.
That's right.
You can feed your people, clothe your people. You can have the best government, the best system, the best model. But if you're not prepared to deal with your enemies, then it will all be in vain. They will take you out, and they will use all strategies to implement a new system in your government, to destabilize your government. So that's what I see with the Hugo Chavez piece. With all that, you got to make sure that you're ready to deal with who your enemies are. You can't set up new.
Oh, okay.
You can't set up anything new that's going to maintain until you are actually in a position to really fight off who your real enemy is, keep your enemies in check. Because I believe that he was killed by this regime. So take that into consideration. You got to be foolproof and know that your enemy is trying to get you every moment and every second. And that has to be the main focal point before we can even get into social services. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, caller. Go ahead, caller. Caller, go ahead, speak. Okay. You mentioned that, Brother King Nova, that you believe that they wanted to assassinate attention on him. And then earlier we discussed, but a caller had disagreed with this, that Venezuela is the largest producer of oil because they have what they call heavy oil. So if you know physics, anything that's heavy, you can dilute and produce mass numbers of it. And so they basically outnumber the United States, outnumber China, outnumber Saudi Arabia with their heavy oil production. So I would say there is a means of assassination for take out Hugo Chavez. So, what's your take on that?
America, before any of these Soviet countries or any of these alternative social systems can flourish, America is going to have to be destroyed. That's what we see with Korea now. We see Kim, the new president, 28 years old, he's coming in office saying, I'm aiming nukes at Washington, D.C. He's coming in correct. He's watched all these leaders get killed and get assassinated. So he know what he's up against.
Okay.
So he's ready. He's coming in the office saying, I'm going to have to wipe my enemies out. There's nothing I can do. The first plan of action is wiping my enemies out when I get into this particular position.
Okay.
We gotta wipe them out. It's not the problem is not how terrible these countries are being ran, but how ineffective we're able to deal with who our enemies is. Because even if we get it going right, they're gonna come and destroy us. We gotta get them out the way. First plan of action is destroying your enemies. As long as your enemy is still alive and still up and well and aiming at every second to kill you and take you down, then any progress that you have will be temporary and very short-lived.
So Dave, he talks about Kim Jong-un,
I agree with the brother Wade just got through saying you have to take I'll get to your question. I agree with him, but you do have to take your enemy out. Because you got to look at the psychosis behind that, the mindset. Their mindset was always filled with filth and greed, and this is a thing that just harvests like a well-oiled machine, just over and over and over and over to suppress you, to keep the foot to the neck. You have to, by any means, take out your enemy. I mean, look at the United States. What did they tell their troops? By any means, you take them out.
That's right.
You take them out. That's the enemy.
Wow.
But I think it's another side to that.
Okay.
And that is that we have to organize our people. All of us have to belong to organization, and we got to re-educate our people and make them know and understand what a revolution is. And we got to out-organize imperialism because even though we may want to take them out, they're the ones with the big bombs and all that. But we have to organize the people so strong that the will of the people is greater than any weapon. And we have, and so, anyway.
Yeah, no, and I remember because I know you marched with
Martin, Stokely, right?
Stokely Carmichael. And I remember he said something so profound, and that's why I'm bringing this topic up today. He said, I think not only he said it, but I think it was said by several Panthers. They said, you can kill the revolutionary. No, but you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution.
That was Fred Hampton who said
Fred Hampton, that's right, he said that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, revolution going because revolution is in the people.
Right.
To be free is within all the people.
Right.
I think you said you had a telephone call.
Okay, go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I got a couple quick things I want to run down real quick. I'm going to try to be real brief.
You will.
I don't know whether or not you all know this or not, but I don't know what show you're talking about today because I am unable to get to you guys on the internet.
Okay.
When I try to go to the blackatheist.com, they tell me that there's malware and spyware on that page, and my computer won't let me get to it.
Okay.
What I'm suggesting is, if you can, maybe you guys can check that out. Also, you need to put up something on Facebook saying where you can send a donation. I can't get to blackatheist.com, so I was thinking maybe if you guys could put something on Facebook, like an address to where you can send a donation. And number 3, I would like for Black Son to let me know. Last week he had Seti on the show, and Seti was saying that he was in the near future coming to Columbia, South Carolina. That's where I am. My question is, I don't know where he's going to come, what facility he's going to be at, who's going to bring him in. I was wondering if you guys could get some more information on that.
Okay, brother, what I'm going to have to do, the Facebook on the Black Atheists of Atlanta on Facebook, go to that, and I'm going to post all the information personally. So give me about 24 hours, and I will personally post everything that you need to know on Black Atheists of Atlanta on Facebook.
Okay.
And then you'll see.
All right, y'all be good. I'll talk to you later.
All right, appreciate that.
Long live the revolution.
That's right. Okay.
So I was saying that we have to organize our people, build organization, and educate our people, and work to take over and make our people see the importance of Africa, make our people see the importance of having a land, make our people see the importance of having an identity as African, teach our people to love each other and to work together. And that it's more than just destroying, we have to build. Our job is to build a nation. Our job is to rebuild our people and make them love and love each other.
Now, Mukas, I think, and I agree with that, but I think what Brother King Noble was saying is that he already anticipated the rich oligarchies coming in. He already anticipated that, you know what, there's some rich people. I'm in the land with the most oil refinery on the planet. Like I said, let me say it again, more than Saudi Arabia, more than the United States, more than China, to that caller that said that Venezuela don't have more oil. And he anticipated these people coming in and overthrowing him. So he hit them in the compartment. So what you're saying, Hugo Chavez created a defensive, basically, is what I'm saying.
I mean, he had a military, but he took the revolution to the people.
Right,
and made
right.
the people love the revolution, made the people part of the revolution.
Absolutely.
And the more he organized the people, the more he educated the people toward the revolution, the more he gave the people the benefits from the revolution, then the more the people defend the revolution.
And that's why they put him back in office, right.
He had the people. So the people are stronger than his military.
That's a good point you're making.
Yes, sir.
That's a very good
Mike.
point. The only thing, though, is that if you A lot of times we talk about waking the people up and giving them a revolutionary education and revolutionary consciousness.
Yes,
but
sir.
if you don't take the enemy out, that's miseducating them. If you allow these institutions, because on a micro level, Hugo Chavez had to take over the radio station, the news.
Everything.
He had
Yes,
to do
sir.
a coup. He had to totally wipe out the power structure that was keeping United States imperialism and white supremacy, basically, from governing over that country. He had to take those enemies out in order to come into power. He had to take out the rich, greedy people that was sucking off the poor. So even here in the United States of America, we can't wake people up as long as the institutions that's manufacturing their sleep continue to exist. At some point, these institutions are going to have to be destroyed. That's manufacturing ignorance and anti-counter-revolutionary consciousness for our people. Otherwise, as soon as we wake them up, they're going to put them right back to sleep. Because they're well-oiled machines and putting the people to sleep. So at some point, we got to go at these institutions.
Dave? I agree with the brother because the structure that we see exists right here in the good old United States, it's a trickery structure.
Right.
And it's been trickery from the beginning of the times, and it still is going to be that way. This whole structure is all based on.
And you got a good point because they trick black people into believing they middle class, they
Exactly,
rich. Because I don't know
exactly.
any black people that own Enron. I don't know any black people that own the manufacturing military supplies.
When you own the media, when you own the circus and everything that gets into your ear, if you own that,
right.
if you own that and you spew up out of that message, and the one like my brother was talking right here, he's right. You got to organize and go ahead and educate the people. But if that power structure is so heavy and it crushes your voice and it moves like a tank into your households, into your ear, into your mindset, into your thinking, what my brother is saying is, it is true, but our people are so focused on looking at the picture that they give you.
Right, and let me say this real quick. Just like the one caller, he said, well, why are we glorifying Chavez? Again, I don't know Chavez. You don't know Chavez. We're talking about the legacy that Chavez left behind, which is Chavismo. And Chavismo, I will glorify because it eradicated 50% of the poverty in his nation.
Matter of fact, Chavez represented the people, and we're glorifying the benefits of the people.
Right.
And it's the people versus the multinational corporations.
That's right.
And yes, I agree, eventually the people are going to, ain't no other way but to destroy the multinational corporation that rape and rob the people. And these same multinational corporations and the Zionists, the imperialists,
that's right.
They control all the resources of the world, and they got their militaries to back it up.
Right.
And and Africa is the richest continent in the world. And right now, Obama and those are putting their militaries, the drone stations, to blow up Africa and to kill and assassinate African people. And
that's a very interesting point you bring up there. Drones, military, because I know, they lowered the standard of militaries and they were allowing manual military to come in. They allowed the Norteños, Serenos, Crips, Bloods, Vice Lords to come in as military. But then people in Washington, the Pentagon, started complaining after, I think, in Syracuse, California, where a military guy came back in the Norteños and slaughtered the police officer, shot him in the head. So they're like, well, this becomes a problem. So now they want to replace you military manually with the drones. So that's
because they can just fly drones, and they're making all kind of things that they can make bombs. They're making little things that look like little birds fly in the sky. I saw where they were using squirrels and making artificial squirrels with the carrot bombs and other things. And they use diseases like AIDS to kill us off too. But now we know that they're on their way they're in Africa, African, and I think around the holidays, Christmas, they invaded 35 different countries by sending military to these countries, and they are preparing to fight a major war in Africa. And that now all of us with African descent from around the world in the Caribbean and here in the United States, we're gonna have to make a decision. Are we going to allow our children, at churches and other people I'm talking to, just individual, you can hear me, are you gonna allow your children, your people, are you going to Africa and murder and kill people that look just like you for the slave master, America, who put you in slavery, who murdered you, who held you in slavery 500 years, who got you in the condition that you're in now, are you going to fight for your slave master against your motherland, Africa? And I'm saying to you, as little brother is saying, imperialism must find its grave.
That's right.
We must put him in the grave. And Sekou Touré, a great leader of West Africa, Guinea, but a Pan-Africanist, says that imperialism will find its grave in Africa.
That's right.
They will fight harder for Africa than they have fought anywhere in the world, because Africa got the oil, the diamonds, the gold, the oil, the zinc, the tea, the copper, the pearl, the cobalt, the manganese, and it belonged to us. They stole us from it and made us ignorant of it, and now many of us are begging and obeying our slave masters, getting in their military and propagating lies for this enemy that we live under.
Okay.
Slavery and them putting us in slavery did not do us no favor. If you think it did you a favor, you sick and ignorant and been brainwashed by the white man.
Okay.
Our fight is for Africa, and we'll never be free until Africa is free.
Okay, I mean,
Yes,
King
young
Noble,
brother.
he brings up a good point about, this is, bottom line is about resources. I remember watching a documentary, I think it was the Hutus of the Congo, and I remember I watched this documentary and they had got these tourists of white people, because this is after the Rwanda conflict, and the guy was like, oh man, these are actually the Hutus, and the Hutus told him he slaughtered all the rest of the white people, and he let just this one group, and he said, look, you let people know that all of Africa is at war, that basically all of Africa, he's not only talking about the Congo, but he said we represented all of Africa. And there was a situation where they had UN soldiers, and I think they had like 4 Europeans, and he said basically to all you African soldiers, we gonna spare y'all, but y'all gonna turn up the Europeans. I mean, what's your take on that?
That's deep. That's deep. For one, what I'm seeing is that with the whole Chavez piece,
right,
which is connected with what you're saying, is I look on YouTube, I look on Facebook, and I see a lot of black people, crying about Chavez, sad about him and his death, and he was a very strong brother, and he represented someone who's willing to stand against United States imperialism. But I find it interesting that we don't know who our revolutionaries are.
Right.
And if we know what made Hugo Chavez so powerful, is that he was supported by the people. So I think the energy that our people are putting towards Hugo Chavez needs to be directed towards some of our own revolutionaries. Okay. They don't know, are they supporting Black Sun? Are they supporting King Noble? Are they supporting revolutionaries of our time to change the consciousness in the situation of our people? So they didn't even know that Khaled died. They don't even know who Kwame Ture is. But we are crying over Hugo Chavez making his transition. If you have a revolution, you must support your revolutionaries. You must know who they are. They don't make your revolutionaries popular. So it's up to you to back those individuals that are fighting for change and fighting for liberation in our own people. And then we can have some of the success right here in the United States of America that Hugo Chavez had. Once we begin to support those that are like us, that are defending our cause, then we can have some change within our social reality.
But don't you agree, though, that King Noble, that they have to have some type of political education and structure on what to fight for? Because a lot of people don't even, I've talked to people who are so-called conscious, but you ask them, well, what type of, let's just say we overthrow the white man. What type of economical structure would you set up? And they have no clue. They have no clue about what socialism is. They have no clue what capitalism is. They have no clue what, economical.
If your house is burning up,
right,
you might not know exactly what tool you're going to use to put out the fire or get out the house, but you know that your house is burning up.
Right.
And you need to get out that fire.
Okay.
You know. So in the situation that we in with a 16-year-old boy getting shot down in New York 7 times,
that's right.
We're under fire.
Absolutely.
So we need to move towards getting from under fire, or otherwise we will be too extinct to even deal with the issues of economics and deal with post-revolution.
Right.
We won't even make it to the point that you're talking about unless we start even dealing with some of the warfare that's up on our people right now every day. You did the show on the prison reform.
That's
You
right.
have, You've been tackling these issues that's dealing with what our people are up under. So even if we're not advanced enough in our political thought to get to levels of restructuring an entire governmental system, we all are aware that we are under fire with this enemy. And if we're going to have to do something about it, we're going to have to support those that are against it. And the time is now for us to make some power moves to change our condition.
That's why I always said, you know, the numbers of shows, you have to take the laws and the rules of the game of the United States and play against those rules. Find your way, because we're so stuck to them.
Right.
We're stuck like a Venus flytrap.
Right.
We don't want to pull away. We don't want to pull away from what he has said because we fear that we're going to get in trouble. I've made a number of occasions that I always use the example of my Hispanic friends and my Asian friends.
Right.
And there are households where they look at their laws and say, you know what? If I do this, I'm going to get stuck here. Let me play in the middle.
And I'm glad you mentioned that.
Let me play in the middle for everything I do. And what we have done, we always play along. See, like, for instance, just hypothetically speaking, we got Barack Obama as being the president. What does that do? Emotionally, black people, yes, he's our black president.
Okay.
Okay.
And
now
he's
what?
nothing but an assassin.
And what's after that?
He is an assassin. Right.
Okay, what's after that? Let's put
Right,
all the
right.
stuff aside and understand. You got to look at the plan. I don't care who it is, it be him or whatever. Look at the plan and understand the plan.
Right.
Understand how does that tie into me
Right.
and move away from it.
And also, I would like to say that we have to be clear on what we're fighting for and what we're fighting against.
Right, I agree.
And that
Totally
again, we are African people, and we're revolutionary. We want to be revolutionaries, and revolution comes in all forms. And there are revolutionaries in all countries,
That's right.
and people of all colors are fighting against this one enemy that we have, imperialism.
So, Mukas, let me
and
ask-
they oppress people of all color, and
Right.
they are revolutionaries of all colors.
That's true, and I want to ask you a quick question because, you know, with the drones, they're looking to phase out manual forces in the military pretty soon, I'm sure.
Okay.
In the police force too, I'm sure. So, what's your advice to the military, to the people who are, you know, I mean, because if you look at it, the military you can say is a form of socialism. You know, they pay supposedly your.
Oh, well,
you know,
militaries are slaves. They're slaves. They're killing and murdering people of color for imperialism.
Okay.
And the military are nothing but assassins. Obama is the head assassin.
That's
and
right.
that they use, whether they
Explain
use,
why Obama's the head assassin.
well, he just assassinated the government of Libya.
That's
and
right.
killed hundreds of thousands of people. They're
Wait a
overturned.
minute, because he shook the man's hand.
Who shook his hand?
Obama shook Gaddafi's hand.
Yeah, and then at the same time they were planning to kill him. When his master
He
said,
shook Chavez's hand.
when his master said kill him, they killed him.
Wow.
Obama is one of them. He can look like us. For an example, I organized and helped put the first black people on police forces throughout the South, helped put the black mayors and black politicians. When they didn't allow them to vote, when they used to blow up our houses and schools for just trying to register to vote, the Democrats were throwing the dynamite
That's right.
at us.
Yeah,
So
they still doing
I put
dynamite.
these people off when they, for an example, I use one example. In Jackson, Mississippi, when they killed Medgar Evans, we demonstrated, we started rioting, and the federal government came and begged us not to burn the city down, that they guaranteed they would put a black police on the force, and they put one on there named Red. And when they would put us in jail, they would handcuff us, and then they would give Red the billy stick, and Red would and say, y'all demonstrated for the nigger police, come in Red, and they get Red the stick. Red would beat you until the white folks pull him off you. He went through the neighborhood, arrested everybody, including his mama, his brother, and everybody. He was shooting people like animals, and when he died, thousands of people came out to the cemetery, to the funeral, and just stuck knives in him and celebrated his death. So I'm saying all these politicians, when they get in, black power may put them in, but when they get in, they work for white power. So I'm saying that we have to organize our people, educate our people, and we would never be the assassins and the murderers of the white man. We ain't trying to be like the white man.
I am.
We don't want to be like the white man.
King Noble.
But,
I am.
Well,
Here to-
Touch on that. Touch
You
on
got to
that.
learn from your enemy. What he's doing is effective. He's
Right.
effectively maintaining power and dealing with his enemies in a way where he can maintain power. If we want power, we're going to have to go ahead and be real and step up to what we got to step up to.
Be efficient.
It's a reality.
Right.
We can't be too righteous and our mind can't be shot up so into space that we can't confront the real issues that are at hand.
Well, I'm saying to confront the real issues, but we don't want to be like, we ain't trying to be sad, we're trying to be humane. We're trying to...
Any means necessary.
Some people say that humane has got us on a slave ship.
Any means necessary.
I'm not talking about being oppressor. I'm trying to destroy capitalism and imperialism and all forces of oppression without mercy. So we agree on that, brother. I'm just saying we got to be organized and educate our people.
It's like a white man told me one time, a neighbor back in California. He told me, he says, you know what? I hear all the talk and all the marching and things. He said, the only way we don't pay attention to what you do. We don't pay attention to what you do. What we pay attention to is once you start getting together and cutting off our money.
Well,
pay attention to that.
With that being said, Chavez, before he even got into office, he had his soldiers already ready to go. So he pre-planned ahead. And he, like I said, Chavismo. If anybody knows a better system, y'all let me know.
Well, we need a great social system, and we need to have a great armies throughout Africa. We need to buy some nuclear bombs from North Korea, that great warrior North Korea, and put them all over Africa and say to America and Europe, if you come to bomb, kill, rob us of our diamonds, gold, oil, rubber, zinc, tea, or anything like that, we would nuke you. But we definitely have to defend Africa, and we have to defend our motherland. We are African people.
We out.
Black power.
Peace.
Black supremacy.
We are African people.
Yeah.
Africa must.
1, 2.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yeah. Great and square. Look. Yeah. Hey, yo, you gotta use your. All I really ask of you is that you try and use your. Holy time, Jesus, I'm coming for the. If you really wanna battle me, then you better use your. Yeah, they think it's a game and fail to use their. On some lame, outdated books that's weighing down there. Even though the same teaches not to use your. That's insane. So here is just something else for you. There's a reason they teach it to you when you're young. Cause the grown up asking for evidence isn't fun. Trying to explain how you should believe in the same data creation myths when you trying to convert someone. Name a faith that lets you think for yourself. I'll join tomorrow that doesn't have a